Alright guys, we're back in the car ready for day 2 of mastering tray flips in 10 days. Today we're going to be looking at a tip that Andy Anderson sent to me. Super random, but I made a video about Dylan Jabe's frontside flip. It turned out that Andy Anderson had been watching it, trying to study Dylan Jabe's frontside flip like I was. And I saw him comment on the video, saw Andy Anderson left a comment, and I was like, nah, that's some random kid in Minnesota who just put his username as Andy Anderson. But I checked my Instagram later that day and I saw that he had DM'd me and just told me that he liked what I was doing, and he gave me this tip for my tray flips. He said to try doing my regular tray flips imagining like I was doing it fakey. The reason I think this tip is worth trying is because for me, you guys have probably noticed I have a hard time keeping my head over my feet. Particularly, I put my head too far forward. And you can kind of get away with that with tray flips rolling straight, but when you're rolling fakey, if your head gets outside your legs, the board just shoots out. So each day in the 10 days of mastering tray flips, we're gonna do something a little bit different. We're gonna go through the same process that we went through yesterday, but we're gonna use Andy Anderson's tip and we're gonna do it all fakey. And then at the end, I will go ahead and do 10 tray flips and see how many I get out of the 10. Day 1, I got 4 out of 10, but overall at the end of this 10 days, I'm trying to get 5 tray flips in a row. So let's run to the skate park and see if we can make some progress on our tray flips.
So on this day, my knee was bothering me and I was afraid that was gonna stop me from actually working on tray flips at all. So I took my time warming up off camera and just got these few clips on camera before getting into the tray flips. So the first step of working on tray flips today is obviously the power, and you notice that I'm not jumping super high, I'm not skating super powerfully at all this day just because of the knee issues, but I still wanted to focus on keeping my balance like I mentioned with Andy Anderson's fakey tray flip technique, you know, really trying to keep my head above the feet so that I can generate as much power with as little effort as possible. Now we're ready to move on to the technique. So right here, you notice I'm just working on getting that forward scoop, which honestly for fakey trays, I feel like there's not as much scoop as there is pop. I feel like with fakey trays, you really need to focus on keeping that heel up in the air and then just pop straight down. So that back heel needs to stay floating over the grip tape, which I really struggle on. But if I do that more, you can see if my heel is up and I get a good pop, how effortless that rotation is. Definitely something I need to work on with my regular trays as well. So one thing I noticed working on the balance is I have a tendency to do a little hop right before I try the tray flip, and going fakey, as well as going regular, but especially fakey, you'll notice my front wheels come up for just a split second. They like bounce up off the ground. It's a really bad habit I need to address if I'm gonna be able to master these tray flips in 10 days. So here we are, moving on to committing to 10 fakey trays. I was super relieved to be here because I was getting so many good rotations during the practice steps. I knew that I was able to land some of them, but we weren't to that stage yet. So here we go, I got 2 in a row, and then this happened where my head gets outside my feet and I just lose my balance. I feel like with fakey trays, the rotation is given to you. It really comes down to getting a good pop off the corner of the tail and staying balanced. So I was able to do that 4 out of the 10 times. I landed on the board a few times as well. Ultimately, it only matters how that translates towards regular tray flips. So after practicing all those fakey trays, I was feeling pretty good trying the regular trays. I felt like I was gonna do good, but this is where things started to get a little frustrating. You notice a lot of these attempts, I am actually getting a fairly good rotation, but it's like I just don't have enough scoop or enough hang time. Just running out of time, the board's not getting enough rotation before my feet come down. Now right there, I did actually land one. It was pretty sketchy. This guy's feeble was sick, but ultimately that's only 1 out of 10 attempts. Pretty big bummer. Rather than just taking an L on this day, I decided to do what I talked about in the 4 pillars video, which is if things don't go well when you're trying to actually commit to the trick, rather than getting stuck in a loop of just trying to land the trick all the time, go back and focus on the power, the technique, the balance, the individual aspects that actually make up the trick that lead to you being able to commit and roll away, that give you the confidence to really put your feet on the board. Because sometimes you can commit, but if the other pillars are falling apart, you're not going to be able to roll away. So that's what I did. I went back, I went through power, technique, balance, and then I tried recommitting again. I did 5 reps of each, and by the end of 5 reps, this was the best I could do, was that sketchy tray flip. I went ahead and tried a few extra, and I was able to get this one right here, but overall, not the way I wanted the day to go.
I'm not gonna lie, today was a little discouraging. I felt like I was in a really good spot after the first video. Landed 4 tray flips out of 10. Going 1 for 10 today was a little discouraging, but I feel like Andy Anderson talking about like turning the shoulders fakie helped me adjust my foot positioning and like point my foot more. And for some reason, I feel like that's helping me counterbalance and stay more centered over my foot stance. So after everything, I just kept trying until I got 1 tray flip, and the one that I got is probably the best that I've done during the challenge so far. So I feel like I'm onto something, but it's just a little bit disappointing that I couldn't do it on command, if that makes sense. So it feels a little bit like I'm taking 1 step backwards to go 2 steps forwards, hopefully in the next video tomorrow. Yesterday I was really confident. Today I'm a little bit worried that maybe I bit off more than I can chew. But if you do like these videos, make sure to check out this one where I go in depth about the 4 pillars, which is the strategy that I'm using to try and master tray flips in this 10-day challenge. So make every single day a Friday, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.